The past year has been terrible for investing. The average investor has lost up to 20% of their portfolio in a context of crashing stocks, plunging real estate values, and the complete destruction of assets like cryptocurrencies. But 2023 has started a bit better. There is a bit of a hope that finally inflation is being tamed, and some bank collapses aside, the situation looks to be stabilizing, and there's hope that soon enough the good times are gonna return. In this context, today I'll tell you what my exact investment plan is for this year, and because I live in Denmark, I'll tell you all the Denmark specifics. My setup has 2 principles and then 3 actions, and it's a good plan for those who want a set it and forget it approach and still want to get the most profit possible. Principle number 1 is to invest every month. If you want your money to compound, you need to invest every single month. This can sound boring, but this is true. Investing is a long game, and I have invested, for example, myself, between 30 to 50% of my take-home income every single month and do it for years. And only now, many years later, I can start to see the big money coming in. For most people, my recommendation is that you pick a number that is reasonable to you, that doesn't hurt your lifestyle, be it like 500 krona, 1000 krona, whatever it is, and invest that. What you want to do is to build the habit of investing. To frame yourself as, yes, I am an investor. That type of mentality, that's what you want. If you can, of course, invest more than 500 krona, invest 5,000 krona maybe, 10,000 krona. I mean, that's a reasonable number if you're an expat in Denmark, for example. But again, you can start small and then grow as you go along. And then of course, if you have 20,000 to spare and you can invest and want to invest it, by all means, do that. But again, I think it's more important that you set up the habit of doing it regularly instead of just putting one big investment in one go. Principle number 2 is to invest automatically. I strongly recommend that you make your investments automatic. And specifically, the setup that I suggest has 2 legs. Leg number 1 is that each month, the day your salary comes in into your bank account, you want to have an automatic transfer from, for example, in my case, Nordea to Nordnet, which is my investment account. And basically that takes 1 minute to set up. Each time your money comes into your account, before you use it for anything, poof, it goes for investment. The second leg is that once the money is in your investment account, in Nordnet, again in my example, you want the money to be invested automatically. You want a setup that once the money comes in, your broker, again Nordnet or Saxo or whatever you choose, will automatically spend this money to buy specific funds or stocks that you have said in advance you want to buy. The idea here is that you want to invest without even thinking about it. You want to have this process running in the background every single month without you having to actively being involved. And I guarantee you, because it happened to me in the past, that if you don't do it automatically, you will either not invest every month, or when you then go and invest, you will just spend too much time for no extra value. If you're in Denmark, it's also crucial that you want your taxes, because they're crazy, to be done automatically. And for that, I strongly recommend that you use a Denmark-based brokers such as Nordnet or Saxo, because they do all the calculations for you and they send the information to Skat directly. And you can also open the Aktier Espanto konto with them as well. There are of course other brokers, like for example eToro, which I also like myself. However, they don't do all these things automatically. Moving into the actions. So action number 1 is to maximize your Aktier Spare konto. Denmark is hands down the worst place in the world to make money as an investor. The taxes are just insane, and in this context, the best setup is for you to first maximize your Aktier Spare konto. I made a whole video explaining the accounts over here, but in short, the Aktier Spare konto are special accounts where you only pay 17% in capital gains versus 27 to 42% on the normal accounts. Again, for those of you who don't know, capital gains is that when you buy a stock and it goes up in value, you need to pay that, 70% in the case of Aktier Spare konto, 27 to 42% in the normal account on the gain of your investment. The Aktier Spare konto though have 2 catches. The first one is that you're only allowed to put in a starting capital 106,600 Danish krona. If your account grows over that, that's great, but you can't deposit more money in the account if you reach that limit. The second point is that in the Aktier Spare kontos, you get to pay capital gains taxes even if you don't realize your gains. What this means in practice is that if you buy, for example, a Tesla stock and you don't sell the stock, but it has gone up in value, you need to pay this 17% capital gain regardless, because even if you didn't sell it, in Denmark, For this specific account, you get taxed on unrealized gains. This sucks, this is crazy, but again, it's still a better deal than the other alternatives that you have. My specific pick for the Activos para Conto is that you choose index funds that accumulate returns and that are on the riskier side, again, so you have bigger chance for profit. If you have not maxed out your Activos para Conto, all your investment kroner should go to the Activos para Conto. Max it out as soon as possible. Just note as well that there are no automatic buys, as far as I know, for the Activos para Conto as you have for normal accounts. So again, you just need to do the manual buying yourself. Also, in case you have maxed out Activos para Conto and because of the tough market situation last year, your account is now under the limit or the threshold of 106,600 krona, you can now max the Activos para Conto again. And if you have that option, do it. For example, myself, I had to do that early in January and it paid off already now. Action number 2 is to use Nordnet's Monzo sparring setup with index funds. Once you have maxed out that Activos para Conto, the next point is to then set up this auto investing that we talked about in a normal investment account. I made a whole video explaining how you do that in Nordnet, and that's going to be linked over here. I recommend most people to invest in index funds and don't bother in picking stocks or anything else. Index funds have normally low fees, like very low fees, and regularly beat even the fanciest investors. They're just a no-brainer. And specifically, my recommendation also is to go with funds that cover a wide range of markets. So for example, you could have a fund that picks the 500 top companies in the US, then one for the top 1000 companies worldwide, and so on. Myself, I have used the SPAR index investments in the past, and since last year, I'm using iShares as well. If you want to hear what are my exact investments, there's gonna be a link down in the video description. Taxes for this setup are complicated, but in short, you'll pay between 27% and 42%, depending on how much gains you realize. The first 50, almost 60,000 krona in gains get taxed at 27, the rest get taxed at 42%. And there are basically no loopholes. It's really tough. How exactly you pay these taxes is also super complicated, and I made a free course where you can get through into all the details. There's gonna be a link down in the video description as well. Now that you're on it as well, if you're already clicking a lot in the video description, also click to subscribe to the channel. There are a lot more videos like this coming up on investing in the future. The action number 3 is to invest on yourself. And again, look, still now, we're in a context of high inflation. This means that almost every option is bad, so stocks have not been performing. They're doing better now, but still not top performing. Cryptos have collapsed. They're recovering, but it's still very, very far from their heights. Real estate is on its way down. And then even cash, like people are saying hold cash, but also cash is losing its value. We're at like 8 to 10% inflation, so that means that cash is losing that value each year. So then what? What can you do to not lose money? My take here is that this is an excellent year for investing on yourself. So if you're thinking about getting a certification or attending a special training or a university program, this is an excellent time to do it. There's even a ton, like a real ton of really good programs online as well. If you want to spend time, for example, in a coding bootcamp, or if you want to learn the ins and outs of launching an online business, or you want to get better at public speaking, this is the perfect year to do so, and again, to spend your money on that. Because after all, like when you invest in yourself, that compounds as well, and luckily you don't pay capital gains on the investments that you do on your own development, right? And for example, myself, to say that I walk the talk, I spent some serious money this year on a YouTuber training, again, that give me feedback on my videos and things like that. Again, this is the right moment to do something like this. If this type of investing in yourself is interesting to you, let me know. I'm thinking of launching a online entrepreneur style type of training in the coming months. And if you want to hear more about it, let me know in the comments, or again, there's gonna be one more link in the video description. To finish up, this plan just scratches the surface. If you want to hear the more specifics, check this video over here where I go through my exact investment approach in further depth. Thanks for watching.